Hello guys, what's up? So this is the second episode of Tallif's Ramble, and this is basically a sort of kind of podcast that I bullshit about and yeah, So this I think I'm gonna step on some toes here. I think that is an expression, so sorry if I kind of misused it. But yeah, I think a lot of guys, especially in this day and age on internet, I think a lot of guys have to hear this because this is so important and so crucial to get results for some guys that I need to say it. So it's kind of harsh, but stop trying to be a fucking expert in the training science, exercise science, nutrition, and everything. So you don't have to be a fucking expert to get results. Just imagine this. Just imagine, if this is some of you, just imagine how many stuff did you read about technique, about tall guys, about it doesn't even have to be about tall guys, about anything. Just imagine how much have you been reading about training, about exercise science. Maybe if you are like evidence-based guy, just imagine how many papers have you been reading, how many podcasts that some doctors and researchers have been doing. Just imagine, and if you're not getting results that you want, I'm sorry dude, but probably it is probably that you yourself are trying to be an expert, while you should be trying to learn how to get gains for you. So the process is super different. Just let me explain. Just imagine people like take this for granted, but people are using now their phones and their computers like it's your second hand. So you are really aware what you're doing. You know it's really automatic, but you are not aware how good you are at using it. But before, people wasn't really like a normal thing to know how to use computer in the early 90s or something like that. And so just imagine you now know how to use the computer, but you don't know how to make one. So in a sense, this is some kind of a metaphor for us when we are trying to be an expert in exercise science. I know this because I have been like trying to do this before in the past. I didn't even notice that I was doing it, but I was trying to be an expert. My goals were fucked. I didn't have my goals correctly set, and that's why I was just learning everything about, frequency, about training, these volume landmarks of Mike Israetel, exercises, techniques, this and that, how muscles work. And basically, to be perfectly honest, it doesn't even fucking matter. None of this actually makes any fucking difference in your training. Of course, it's really good that we have researchers that are researching the topic, that we are like learning from, and this is really good. But just now imagine, some of the stuff that we know about training, we knew about it for like maybe even 100 years. It's not that complicated to grow muscles, honestly. And even the best researchers are telling you that. Even like I don't want to drop names because maybe I will offend them, or maybe I will like misquote them or say that they don't mean to say it. But yeah, some of the best guys are also telling you this, like, don't overcomplicate things. Just, you have to train, you have to track your progress, you have to see what's working, what's not working, and just adjust based on that. The frequency, intensity, volume, and recovery nutrition. Those are probably just the main stuff that you want to like focus on. You don't have to focus on everything. So, and to get back to my metaphor, because I didn't even finish it because I'm basically rambling, is we know how to use our smartphone. But we don't know how to fucking make one. And you don't even have to know how to make one to use one. The same thing goes for training. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be a scientist. You don't have to know what Golgi tendon organ is, or I think it's called that way. Sorry, if you don't have to know what. Oh my God, I'm stuck in my head now. You don't have to know anything about muscles to gain muscles. I know so much guys that know so much about training and training science, and they look like shit. I know so much guys that they are clueless when you are trying to ask them, bro. I know one guy. He looks really good. I mean. Even he had, I mean, also he has really good genetics. You know, he has like these really round bellies. He was jacked all the time. We played basketball when we were kids together, and he was always like you know, muscular and fast, and you know. But when I just a few weeks ago I asked him, bro, how do you train? What are you doing for your back? And he was like jokingly, yeah, you know, I'm like doing this now, and I asked him how he was doing leg pull down, and I asked him, bro, okay, so I didn't say bro, so what are you doing next? How many sets are you doing? How many times per week are you training? And he was like, but you know, I don't know. And he was training with his training partner, and he was like, what are we gonna do next? And he was like, I don't know, maybe this thing. And I was like, what? What? I'm so meticulous when I'm trying to change an exercise. I'm trying to look in my training history. I'm trying to look what worked, what didn't work, when it did it work, when it didn't work. I'm trying to also take into account, like, if I did something for a few months, then maybe that translated in the next time I used, you know, I mean, there is a process that you can eliminate exercises if they are good or not for you. But you know, when I was talking to this guy, and I'm thinking to myself, maybe if he just tried a little bit harder, he would probably look like insane. He is already looking insane now. Maybe currently he's like not even training that hard, but at some point he was looking like, for sure, you would say, this guy is using tons of shit, and I know he's not using. I know this guy. He's not using anything, and he looks like he doesn't even fucking train legs. He basically trains 3 times per week, and I think he trains something like back Monday, chest Wednesday, and shoulders and maybe legs every 3 to 4 weeks. He literally said that to me, and he looks, you know, better than almost everybody. But okay, that's an exception because he has great genetics. That's not even a question. But I know a lot of guys who don't know much about training. I mean, they literally know really the most basic stuff, you know, but they look really good. And you know why is that? Because they are focusing on action. They are focusing, they are busting their ass in the gym, most of them, and they get the results. While some guys like me, I was in around 2011-12 on, or I don't know, maybe up until 2014 or something like that, when I started to do power hypertrophy from Lane Norton. Up until then, I was like stuck in a rut. I was only reading stuff. I was checking what should I do, what should I not do, what does make muscles grow, and who the fuck fucking cares? What does, you know, if somebody said to me now, you only have to do one static set, static, not static, is it static? Oh my god, I hate when I do this because I'm speaking in English and it's really difficult for me when I get stuck like this. But yeah, isometric. Yeah, that was loud, sorry about that. So just imagine if somebody said to me now, you should only do one isometric rep, full on max rep, RPE 11, and that's the only thing you have to do to maximize your genetic potential ever. You should only do it once per 2 weeks. something similar that some of the high intensity guys are saying. And you should only do that, and you should never train basically, and that's it. I would say no, I'm not gonna do it. I don't give a shit if it's optimal. You know, I like to train, I like to go into the gym, and I like the process of the actual training. And that's the only thing that is actually bringing you results. The actual process of training, the process of lifting weights. And when you really think about it, your role is your only role is to just go in there, lift some weights, pretty hard, but not too hard, not to kill yourself, and just go back home, and you are not doing anything. God or nature or universe, however you want to call it, all of these processes in your body that gets triggered because of your lifting, just they do it by themselves. You are not actually building muscle. The only thing you have to do is sometimes to go into the gym and lift some weights, and that's it. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be like crazy neurotic about everything what you are doing, you know. It's really simple. There is a process how to optimize all of this stuff, and I'm not trying to say that you should just do and lift and do whatever the fuck you want, and the technique doesn't matter, the volume doesn't matter, frequency doesn't matter, intensity. Yes, they all matter. But the quickest way to get results, to actually go in there and to start experimenting something. Do not try to like perfectly plan out your perfect training block or perfect training week or like perfect everything, and then only after that you're gonna push yourself. So many times I heard, I mean, that's so funny. So I've been training for almost, so it's gonna be 14 years in 2020. And so many times I have heard this fucking stupid shit of philosophy. I mean, I've spoken to a lot of people about training because they see me and, oh, you're training, you're lifting something, yeah. I'm like, yeah. And they were always like, yeah, I'm gonna start doing it when, and then add anything you want. When I start to eat healthy, it's gonna be at Monday, it's gonna be at first this year, it's gonna be at first day of the next month, it's gonna be when I try to fix this shit, it's gonna be when I have a little more time. Come on, seriously dude, that's the same thing when the expert says, you know, I'm not gonna push it in the gym until I find my perfect program, until I completely figure out how this shit works. You don't have to figure out anything, you have to just fucking do it. Anything that I did in my life, I just did it because I started doing it. And the things that I wanted to do in life and that I didn't do, it's just because I fucking was always theorizing, always like, you know, trying to make a perfect plan, trying to, you know, that's probably, I think now when I look back at it, for some things that I did in life, or actually that I didn't do in life, it's because I was afraid, and I was practically like, you know, I was rationalizing to myself why I shouldn't do it right now. And it makes sense, because when you are talking to yourself, it's kind of funny, because when you are talking to yourself, it always makes sense, because you know yourself pretty well, and you know how to like demotivate, basically how to justify not taking action right now. So that's also the same for lifting technique. People are practically, when hey, I'm starting to get emotional here, because when I start to speak Croatian, it's probably because I'm starting to freak out here a little bit, because this topic, oh man, when I start like talk about this shit, man, about technique, when I hear people say, I honestly, I don't want to say who it is, but honestly, one physio, when I talked to him on Instagram, he basically said to me, because at the time my IT band hurt, so I fixed that problem by myself. So, but I was like consulting with this guy, and he said to me basically, he would not lift anything above. You just imagine this. 60 kilos on squat, and he was like training. I think he was training a long time, you know, over 5 years he was training, or maybe even more. And he's a physio, and he said to me, I'm not gonna lift anything above 60 kilos until my technique is super perfect. And I was like, bro, no, no, no. And he literally said, so literally he said, strength is not how much you lift, how much weight you lift, but he said, strength is your ability to do a perfect form or something like that, something along those lines. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? That shit doesn't make any sense. And you know, some people are like that. Some people are like, I'm gonna practice this perfect, my imaginary perfect technique, because basically perfect technique doesn't even exist. For some of you who didn't know that, technique depends on a lot of factors, a lot, a lot of factors. I mean, there is, people think that human body is like three-dimensional, and it's not. It's like your joints are multi-dimensional. Maybe knees or elbows not so much, but your shoulders and your hips, man, they have muscles pulling all over the place. It's not like you have only quads and your glutes and that's it. So you can do a squat in a millions of ways. There is no like, I can do squat in, like, I have for a squat I have like 5 different techniques that I know I can lift pretty well, and they're all different. So human body is not like this machine, like a robot. You can move in a different ways, you know. Your goal is to find the most safest or the most efficient technique. The safest technique is the one that doesn't hurt you and the most efficient technique is basically the one in which you are moving the most weight. So just look at one powerlifting competition, any powerlifting competition, just look at it. Everybody has different technique on every lift. So, you know, and they are all lifting heavy weights. So that's basically, you know, I'm not saying that you should lift like an idiot, because you will hurt yourself. You will hurt yourself. What I am saying is that you can lift in multiple ways. There isn't just one way to lift weights. So, yeah, that was good. So yeah, I kind of let off some steam here, which is pretty cool actually, and I don't give a shit. So I'm just gonna post this, and hopefully none of you are gonna get too offended. And if you do get offended, that's good. That's good. You should get offended, and you should do something about it. So yeah. So peace out, guys. Maybe some of this helped, and maybe some of this didn't. And I am currently working on bench video, just so you know. Not like this, like my rambles, but I am working on bench video. So I don't know when it's gonna come out, but it's coming pretty soon. So peace out, guys. Please subscribe. Please like the video. That's probably the most important stuff, because it really helps me. The likes are really like probably the most important thing here. So yeah. Peace out, guys.